What's up, friends, and welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing a device that lets you choose how you feel by basically letting you control your emotions on a dime. So, does this thing actually work? Well, I placebo'd myself and my friends, dug deep into the data, investigated the science, and reached out to experts in the field. And so in this video, I'll be sharing the findings and results of my 2-month experience using the Hapbee device. Now, before I go any further, I want to take a moment to address both the hype and the controversy surrounding this device. You see, the company raised a crazy amount of money from their Kickstarter campaign, so much so that people who pre-ordered the device had to wait 5 months for it to show up, myself included. Then there's the controversial element. You see, Reddit has ripped this thing to shreds, and one YouTube video called Hapbee Busted went viral before the device even debuted. So I get it, this device is polarizing, and I welcome healthy debates in the comments below. But like all the products I review on this channel, my goal is to be transparent with you about the pros and the cons and let you know how well this device has worked or not worked for me. You see, I have no ties to the company, but I do have a commitment to you, the viewer, and that is my honesty. So with that, let's roll the intro.
My mission is to help you achieve success without sacrificing your health or happiness. I do product reviews weekly, so if you're into this, click that subscribe button and join the Type A tribe. Now, before I dive into the science and my own data, let's talk about what the Hapbee device is and how it works. So the Hapbee is a device you wear either around your neck or your forehead, designed to give users full control of their emotions. When you sync the device to their app, you'll find 6 different settings to choose from, ranging from alert to calm, sleepy, focus, relaxed, and yes, happy. Now, the sessions are programmed to only last 1 hour with no residual effects after you turn off the device. Now, I am certainly not a scientist, but I have poured hours into researching their claims to try and really understand how this device works at both a mechanical and a molecular level. I've also reached out to several people in the space, including an engineer friend who has extensive knowledge of electromagnetic fields, to really gain some additional insight into how this technology works. And so here's what I've been able to unpack from all the information I've gathered. And bear with me, guys, as I might get technical at times, but I really think that this information is important and worth sharing. And so let's start with the basics. And the Hapbee device is actually pretty simple by design. There's a wire loop built into the framework that's used to run an electric current and generate a magnetic field. Where things get a bit tricky is in what those magnetic fields are actually doing to our bodies, and more importantly, our emotional states. And before I dive any further, I think it's important to recognize that the overarching umbrella under which this product is derived is magnetic field technology. It's an ever-evolving field with new research being done each year on the different effects that magnetic frequencies can have on the human body. I've certainly experimented with my fair share of magnetic devices, from the amp coil to PMF machines, and so I think that the research into these different magnetic devices is promising. But up until now, the main applications for these magnetic devices has really been on the medical side, including MRI machines to look inside the body and PMF devices to help speed up bone repair. And so I guess my point is that when it comes to magnetic field technology, there is still a lot of ground to uncover. So I'm certainly not going to just discredit all of Hapbee's claims, but I will poke holes into some of their findings and research. And we'll start with signal development. Choose how you feel is basically Hapbee's motto. With just a click of a button, you can conquer stress, get focused, sleep better. The list goes on and on. And to accomplish this, Hapbee claims that their device uses low energy magnetic frequencies to basically mimic signals that your body already understands. So I dug into the science to see if this was actually true. And really, the biggest question that I had about this device is, how do they do this? On their science page, Hapbee claims that the magnetic fields that they use can induce certain feelings in the body, like alert or calm, by acting on specific protein and receptor sites in the body. There's no biofeedback involved in this like you would get from, say, the Muse device, so their main focus is on cell modification. And so in order to determine these signals, they claim to measure changes in the magnetic fields of different molecules over time. And then they tweak and modify these signals through rounds of testing until they've achieved their desired emotional effect. It's complex stuff, and I get it, but hopefully you're still with me, because nowhere on their site was I able to find anything that illustrates this type of process or even explains what type of molecules they use. Instead, they simply reference the technology developed by their parent company, Emulate Therapeutics. And that is where I really start to take issue. You see, Emulate's focus is on developing magnetic technology for cancer therapy treatment, which really has nothing to do with altering your mental state. Even the white paper that Hapbee lists on their own site has to do with Emulate's research on the medical application of their own proprietary device, the Voyager. Now, I certainly get the relationship between the two companies. I mean, for goodness sakes, the CEO of Emulate sits on the board for Hapbee. But what's missing here is real concrete data and published peer-reviewed studies of the actual practical application of the Hapbee device, not the Voyager. The second question mark for me involves testing. I get it, this is not a medical device, so obviously there is a lot less testing involved in getting it out to market. But most of their initial experiments in developing the technology were just done on mice, and only 135 humans were actually involved in testing out their early prototype. With other wearable devices like the Apollo, you can very easily find links to published clinical trials that outline all of the conditions and the steps involved in testing. Hapbee even references their own testing as blinded, but only the third stage of it appears to be blind, and even then it involved a multiple choice test. So for me, this research just feels so rushed with such a small sample size and zero third-party testing to really validate their claims. And finally, we come to probably the most controversial of them all, and that is funding. And I'll be honest with you guys, this is where I am really torn. On the one hand, the company decided to debut their product on the crowdfunding site Indiegogo. Now, if this was such a groundbreaking device as they make it out to be, Indiegogo would not be my platform of choice for funding and distribution. I mean, I love the site, but it doesn't exactly have the reputation of churning out scientific breakthroughs left and right. Now, on the flip side, there are some pretty big players in the space that are backing this device with their own investments. From best-selling authors to board-certified physicians, I really had to do a double take when I looked at their advisory board. And so I took a leap of faith in this device because I figured if it worked for all of them, well, then it'll probably work for me. Which leads me to my own personal experience with the Hapbee device. And I must admit, guys, I probably logged close to 100 or more hours with this device over the course of 2 months, testing out each signal over long periods of time and then conducting placebo-controlled studies on myself. So needless to say, I put this thing through the ringer and really tried to get my money's worth of that $300 price tag plus $19 subscription fee, PS. And I will get to all of my data in just a sec, but to say that I desperately wanted this thing to work would be an understatement. I mean, I even coerced my friends and family and fellow YouTubers to put this thing on and tell me if they actually felt something. But time and time again, the results just fell short. So Shervin, you've been wearing the Hapbee for about an hour. What do you feel?
Happy.
Is that the setting you think it was?
I think so, but I also, the screenshot you sent me showed Happy on the bottom, so I don't know.
No. Okay, so I changed it.
Okay.
So what do you think it is?
I honestly don't feel anything.
This is the problem I have with this device. So that is when I turned to the data. For my first round of experimenting, I actually used my Polar H10 chest strap to measure my heart rate as I tested out Hapbee's different settings. I lied down in the same position for 10-minute intervals, starting with the device off, then I put it on alert, and ended with calm. Now going into this, I figured that my heart rate would spike since the alert setting is supposed to mimic coffee,
and then it would drop down drastically since the calm setting is supposed to feel like a meditation. Instead, my heart rate dropped by 3 points during the alert setting and then only dipped by 1 point during the calm mode. So then I repeated the experiment, this time blinding myself by having my fiance control the settings. I went through all 3 settings before taking any guesses, and then my final results looked like this. The first setting was happy, but I guessed calm. The second setting was alert, which I actually guessed correctly. And the third setting was sleepy, which he shouldn't have done in the middle of the day, but it doesn't matter because I guessed happy. And again, looking at my polar data, my heart rate stayed pretty much the same throughout all 3 settings, which was really surprising to me. We then conducted another placebo experiment for anecdotal data. I'm telling you, I really tried with this thing. And yet again, I was wrong every single time.
I think it's on the relax mode. But I don't really feel anything. I honestly didn't feel a single thing. I was trying to figure out if I was feeling calm or energized, and no, I didn't feel anything.
And my last piece on data is that I also looked at my Oura Ring stats to see what would happen if I put this device under my pillow. After doing this for several nights in a row, I wish I could tell you that I saw some crazy changes to my REM or deep sleep scores, but my stats pretty much look the same as they always do. So taking all of this into account, my personal final conclusion is that this device simply didn't work for me. I just didn't feel any changes to my mood or cognition, no matter my location or the task I was doing. I mean, at the very least, I thought that maybe I would experience some type of placebo effect just from knowing one of those signals was on, but that just didn't happen for me. Now, that is not to say that just because this device didn't work for me doesn't mean it couldn't potentially work for somebody else. I mean, maybe I'm just not sensitive to EMFs, and therefore this technology just didn't affect me in the way it was intended. I mean, I did try this out on my mother-in-law, who is probably the most EMF sensitive person I have ever met, and she did indeed confirm that she felt something, although she said it made her feel altered and she didn't really like that. But that is besides the point. At the end of the day, I love experimenting with new tech and will continue to do so. And if the science is shady, I'll be straight up with you guys on that too. And I think I've made my stance on the science pretty clear with this one. So if you're still skeptical, then I'd say skip it and wait until more research comes out. But if you're still curious and think you might benefit from this tech, then yeah, go give it a shot and take advantage of their money back guarantee. But don't forget about that subscription fee. And finally, if you have tried out this device, no matter what your thoughts are, please leave a comment below. It helps me out, it helps out the community, and I promise that I will share all the feedback I get, good or bad, with the company. So that is my take on the Hapbee device. And if you're still around, make sure to click that subscribe button to get more videos like this, and then hit that notification bell so you get notified each week when I drop a new video. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I cannot wait to catch you on the next